Gardening is hit or miss. So every season I try something new. I either fail or I succeed, or it just doesn't turn out the way I expected, or maybe I'm growing something that I wanted to try and turns out I really don't like it. I might try growing something that turns out I don't eat or may not want to eat. So it's really just it's hit or miss. I mean, everything depends on the environment, the weather, the soil conditions, whether you get a huge crop of nasty pests, or you don't get enough pollinators. I mean, there's so many things that affect the garden, and so you're never going to have a perfect garden, and you're never going to have a perfect season, or at least not likely with every plant. So it's really just, it's hit or miss. Everything is a learning experience, and all we can do is learn and move forward. So it is what it is. Welcome back to the Spooky Small Space Garden. I'm Tish, and I'm a small space container gardener in the hot desert of Phoenix, Arizona. And it is getting hot for sure. We are now in triple digits, and it doesn't look like we're going to get away from that anytime soon. So it's officially summer from here on out, triple digits. So a couple of updates in the garden, not a lot happening with the heat coming, but some things are loving the heat. So we'll take a quick walk through and show you what we've got going on today. Okay, we're gonna start over here in the main part of the garden today. And as you can see, we've got our shade up because we are above triple digits consistently. So I usually wait until we're consistently at or over 100 degrees before I put up shade. Is this the perfect setup? Absolutely not. But we work with what we have, right? So that's where I'm at. So let me walk through here, and actually I'm going to start back here. So we've got our Chimayo melon that is doing just lovely and popping up. We've got some Sweet Alyssum popping up. I did see, here we go. There's a parsley right here that has popped up, and I know I've got another one over here somewhere. However, I realized that I have a lot of extra room in this bed. Like I said, I did put parsley, but it's really over here on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and drop some seeds in here. And I just lost a pack, but I'm going to throw in some zinnia. Now, these are just from the dollar store, so who knows how they're going to do, how well they'll do. But I do love zinnia, and they are awesome pollinator attractors, so I will be putting those in. I also have some marigolds, if I can find where the wind blew them. Then I'll put those in as well, because I mean, one of the best flowers you can plant in your garden is marigold. Stevia actually has popped up a bit more. It's growing, it's slow, but it is growing. So I do believe that it was not getting enough sunlight because of this monstrosity. And this is the ground cherry. First year growing a ground cherry. Never tried it before. So this was my first time growing and tasting a ground cherry. And I did not expect this plant to get this huge. Um, I'm not going to lie, I did not wait until the ground cherries dropped to the ground before I tried one. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because, so this one, as you can see, it's drying. Maybe not quite ready, but it's one of the few I have left, because I did actually pull some off the plant to try them, because, I'm impatient and I can't wait that long. So I did that, and I found that some of these, let me pull this off. I found that some of these were shriveling up inside the husk, and I'm pretty sure that's due to the heat. So this one actually looks pretty good. So you can see, oh, yeah! Let me drop it here. All right, so this is a ground cherry. It looks like we've got some mold on it, so it's already starting to go bad. Um, so I don't know that I want to keep growing these. So, like I said, I did taste them. They're not terrible. I don't know that I'm a big fan. So it's got the consistency of a tomato, maybe a little softer. The seeds are very hard, kind of like a raspberry seeds. They're very, very tough. So not easy to chew through. Um, it is tart, but with a hint of sweet. So it does have a hint of pineapple, which I love. And I think that if I grew a big crop of these, I could do something fun with them, like make some kind of jam or some kind of, I don't know, something fun. But the fact that this thing is so enormous and I only got a handful of fruit off of it, it's really not worth taking up that much space in my garden. So this thing's coming down, and I do have some other plans for it, and I'm not sure which is going to go there, but it is late in the season to be planting seeds. But you know what? It is what it is, and I'm going to try everything. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see. I have some lacinato kale and some Demeglio arugula. And both of these are supposed to be really heat tolerant. And from what I've heard, you can really grow these all year long. So I'm going to try these over here in the garden because this corner gets a decent amount of shade, mostly due to these tomatoes. And then, of course, the shade cloth, which is sagging already. Um, so yeah, this guy's coming out, and I'm going to drop some seeds for kale and arugula because who doesn't want that all summer long? So anyway, going through here, I've got some parsley down here that's looking pretty decent. And again, I put more in the raised bed. This San Marzano tomato is just, both of these are looking beautiful. And you can see there's lots of fruit setting on these. Um, They are starting to get pretty tall, and I'm okay with that. Down here, the oregano looks like it is starting to flower, or getting ready to flower. Here we go. You can see the buds here. And usually I clip those off and don't let it flower, but this plant is so huge that I'm going to go ahead and let it flower and let the pollinators have at it. Again, San Marzano. I'm trying to get over here. You can see that one. That one's beautiful. Over here we have the Brad's Atomic Grape, and it is putting out tomatoes like crazy, and I love it. I am so, look at those. The color on these, you guys, is just gorgeous. I wish I could get a good one up close. Let me come in here. Look at the color on that. It's just gorgeous. And one thing that I do know, there you are, about these is it will not turn red. So what I'm waiting for on this one is I'm waiting for it to give a little bit. So it's pretty hard right now. I'm looking for a lighter green color and a little more purple, but really it's just the firmness. I want it to have a little bit of give before I pull that. So I'm really excited to try those. And honestly, you guys, I'm not gonna lie, I grew these because of the color, because they're gorgeous. And I love grape tomatoes, so, and they're supposed to be heat tolerant, so why not? This San Marzano, I'm a little worried about. The leaves are curling inward. It's definitely getting enough water, so that's not the problem. It's getting fertilized. I mean, it's getting the same treatment that the other two plants are getting, but this one is struggling. It kind of stopped growing right here. There's a little bit of dead here at the top, and it kind of stopped growing. Haven't gotten any flowers on it. So I don't know if it's just not happy here against the block wall or what the deal is, but I'm going to let it go and see what happens. I do have two others, and that's why I always plant more than one. The poblano peppers are doing beautifully. We've got a few coming in here that have already flowered. We've got new flower buds coming in on top. So those look good. I did put an evening primrose here that is really struggling. It did get some transplant shock. It might actually need some water, but yeah, it's struggling. So I'm dealing with that. I've never grown primrose before, so I'm learning. Mint needs another haircut. Nasturtiums are still doing really well. I believe we've got an assassin bug right here. Where are you? We have a little, we've got a little assassin bug right here, which is a friend to the garden. So we'll keep him hanging out. Um, Bell pepper plant, looking beautiful. Since I cut it back, it's just looking great. And as you can see, we've got peppers forming. Green beans are coming in. Sunflower coming up. We've got green beans looking great, climbing up that skeleton. We've also got this ground cherry that I cut back at the base. I didn't pull it. I'm going to pull it because, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of them. I found out they're just a little too tart for my taste. And because of the tiny little crop that I got, it's going. All right, so we've got the corn that is starting to tassel. It always makes me nervous when the corn tassels and I don't have any cobs yet, which is the case here. However, if I zoom in here and not get blocked by a leaf, you can see a little corn cob popping up between the stem and the leaf. So we do have a cob coming. So I'm hoping that these will not start dropping pollen until I get some silks. But otherwise, they're looking good. I've got beans climbing. I may have over fertilized just a little bit. There's a little bit of yellowing here, so I'm going to kick back on that. What I believe is a pumpkin in there is doing really well. I've got a little zucchini here that is not doing well. Again, could be to the over fertilization. I think that's zucchini. Another one back here doing a little better, so we'll see. Back in here, pumpkins. So we've got 2 pumpkins in there that I think are doing pretty well, so we'll leave those alone. Sugar baby watermelon is definitely getting bigger, so it's loving the heat, and it may actually be getting a little more sun. Bush bean here, and okay, potatoes. As you can see, they are starting to die back a bit, and I do believe that is due to the heat. So I think if these were shaded a little more, they probably would last a little bit longer. So we probably will be harvesting these soon. Not quite ready yet, but I'm going to give them a little chance to keep going. I did see, oh yeah, here we go. It's still flowering. So, it's still doing pretty decent. So, like I said, I'm going to leave it alone and let it keep doing its thing until it's completely died back. Bush beans, we've got some flowering going on this bush bean. So we're going to have some green beans here soon, which is lovely. Okra is popping up kind of between these potato plants that have really kind of taken over. Onions are getting big. Not sure they're bulbing, but it shouldn't be much longer for them to do that because, they are getting big. I've got some zinnia in there. And look at this loofah, you guys. It is starting to climb. So that sucker loves the heat, and it's really coming up. All right, I'm not impressed with the tepary beans. So from what I read, they're extremely heat tolerant. They handle the heat really well. They don't need much water, but I feel like that's lies. Those are lies because these are obviously struggling, and I don't know if it's because they're in containers and that doesn't hold water as well. So I have bumped up the watering schedule a bit, and I did plant a few more in there because I want lots of beans. And I see a creepy crawly. You see him there? Yeah, I'm gonna leave him alone. I don't like to mess with garden pests unless I know with 100% certainty that it's a pest. All right, back here we've got these 2 bags of onions that got moved. And again, these are really tiny. They're not doing really a lot, probably due to not enough sun. And I really have not been diligent on fertilizing them. So first year growing onions, and you learn. So that's what happens in the garden. You learn. Every season I learn. Um, I've never grown ground cherries before. Decided that, I'm not a super fan. So I won't grow them again. And that's okay. I tried, you know. Onions, first time growing onions, I know what I've done wrong and what I should do next season, because I definitely want to grow those again, even if they don't make it. This actually is my third time growing corn. The first 2 times I started the seeds during the monsoon season, and the weather got cold too fast and the corn just didn't make it. I mean, it did okay. The cobs just didn't develop like I hoped they would. So this year was the first year I did a spring planting. And so I'm really crossing my fingers that I'm going to get some corn. We'll see. All right, I found the marigold seeds, and these were actually gifted to me. So I'm going to go ahead and put these and the zinnia in the raised bed, and then I'm going to work on this monster. I don't know if I'm going to do this today, but it definitely needs to come down. And then I'll have some arugula and kale to throw down there, and I think they will go in these 2 bags. You can't really see this bag. I mean, this is the one with the lemon basil that smells so amazing, getting completely shaded by this plant. So I think that's where those 2 go. And I think once I remove this plant, the stevia will do a little better. So at least that's my hope. So that's it for today. Like I said, not much going on. And I think that the rest of the summer is going to be very much like that, just kind of watching everything. Maybe some summer harvest from the heat loving stuff like the okra, the peppers, tomatoes. I haven't had a problem with tomatoes ripening throughout the summer. So I do have high hopes for those San Marzanos, because, again, like I said, they ripened all summer last year. And yeah, so that's my gardening adventure for today. And thanks for joining me, and happy gardening.